So I am joined today by the stars of Alien Earth, Sydney Chandler and Alex Lawther. Thank you guys for joining me. For the first episode, I found Wendy and Hermit's dynamic very fascinating. I mean, both feel like characters trying to fill absences that are very present in their life. I think for Wendy, it's interesting how it starts very voyeuristic until it doesn't and puts you on a collision course with one another throughout the season. I'm curious of what it's like exploring that dynamic from each of your perspectives.
I want you to just keep describing. That's
Oh.
yeah. You keep digging in. Give me the answers. Yeah, it's a really it's kind of what drew me to the piece as a whole is the question of how strong a sibling relationship can be and what it can withstand and what it means to be a sibling. Because it's not really explored a lot in cinema, to have the love story, if you will, be a brother and a sister, a familial love instead of a romance, if you will. And so it was just, I mean, Alex made it really, really easy. I just fell in love with him. So,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it was just, it was a pleasure. It was really,
me
really,
too.
really fun. Once you're able to get so comfortable with another actor that you're working with, because siblings, they're all up in each other's business and they're close and they're, that comfortability, that's what I was nervous about getting, being able to find. And I found that really quickly with you. So thank you for liking me.
Oh, thank you for being my friend.
Thanks.
But there's also interesting that like the dynamic is never sort of conventional. I mean, for many reasons, you're a hybrid and
Just a
etc.
little,
etc.
yeah. Like,
But then, you're. I'm mostly being saved by you,
yeah.
And as maybe an older brother, younger sister dynamic, we would expect the opposite, or we've seen that trope.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed being rescued by you,
Oh, it was a pleasure. It's my
in
honor.
many ways, both sort of humanly offset and professionally onset.
Oh, right back at you.
Yeah. And yeah, how like delightful to be part of the soft bit within the hard shell casing of Alien.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Nice little
Yeah.
image there for
Yeah.
everyone to
Yeah.
think about.
Just when you think about Alien, there's such a reverence for it. And both of you have worked on such great projects. I really love Sugar. I thought it was incredibly
Oh,
underrated.
awesome. Yeah.
I mean, Alex, your work on Andor is great and Black Mirror, but having this opportunity to, be these leads of this series, I feel that's a lot of what people in your position, imagine getting that opportunity. I'm sure it's great, especially something that is incredibly heady for this franchise and trying to explore new themes for something that's existed for decades. What was that like as a whole?
I I I wish that I spent more. I think maybe I should spend more time thinking about these things because people ask, and I'm like, oh, I don't really know what I think about
Yeah.
that. And I think we were speaking earlier, weren't we, about how I guess when you're in Thailand, you're in there for 6 months, you're going to work every day. A lot of it's in studio. There's a sense of just like getting on with it.
Yeah, it's a scene by scene, day by day. There's an endurance, so you're kind of you're in the bubble. You're with the team, just focused on getting this day done and doing the best that you can. And then sitting down, I think the most surreal was when I watched it.
Mm. There you
And
go. Or like, or
I saw a few like earlier cuts with Noah, and it just shocked me that we made a show called Alien Earth, and that's our faces in it. So it
I think
the
your point. I was like, oh,
oh
this is
yeah,
on
they're somewhere in there.
it.
Because the franchise is so much bigger than us, and even the films. I mean, the fan base is such an incredible group of people, and it's almost an identity, And so to be a fan myself and to be able to be a part of this, it is surreal. It still hasn't kicked in. I think that's why I can't always find an answer for that.
And speaking of, I mean, Sid is an exquisite lead of this show for so many reasons. I had also seen you in Don't Worry, Darling, and I remember thinking, I don't know who that actor is yet, but I really love what they're doing, or how the camera looks at them. And then when I found out it was you quite quickly that I was going to be the sibling of, um, uh, yeah, something sort of, I don't know, something sort of made sense from our first phone conversations.
I had a crush on you after the end of the fucking world.
Oh, stop it.
My sister did too.
Uh,
Sawyer
that
Chandler
little
also
psychopath.
had.
Just airing out her business on air. Wow. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. We could talk about the series at length, but I know you guys are very busy. I'm very excited for people to see it. Uh, Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Giovanni.
I found something very intriguing about all three of your characters. They all dance around the spectrum of what's classified as humanity. I think Boy Cavalier, most human of them all, but also representative of the worst kind of human we contain on our planet. Morrow, someone who buries their humanity deep because of the trauma they've experienced. And then there's Kirsh, who is not human, but at times feels more human than the both of you. I was curious, what was it like as performers, conveying that to audiences through whether emotively or the subtleties in your performances?
First of all, thank you.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
truly.
it was, listen to you talk about it was,
Yeah.
you're paying us a compliment whether you realize it or not. We appreciate that. I didn't focus on the humanity of, I mean, I didn't think about whether I was human or not human. I was just playing the scene. Noah Hawley's writing, and I knew I had some room because I knew the whole thing was to try to. You're always asking yourself, is this guy really just? It's the distrust we have of AI. Is he just doing what he's like? Is he not dangerous because he's been programmed to not be dangerous, or has he developed his own thoughts and he's got his own plans? And it was a fun sandbox to play in.
I'm also curious, for Babou and Samuel working with Noah Hawley, who I think is great. Timothy, you've worked with him before. You have your own experience, I'm sure, this time around, vastly different, especially with how your character looks. But I was wondering for you two, what was it like to get, to work with someone of his caliber and explore that sandbox, let alone an IP as Alien that people have such reverence for that it could feel a bit overwearing at times?
So that's yeah, just you're in a safe pair of hands. Noah's brave, he's audacious, and I was already a massive fan of the Fargo series, so I knew what sort of caliber we were dealing with. But you just felt not only safe on set, but given the opportunity to play as well and interpret things your own way, and to do that in front of someone with such skill, and he's taking ideas from you. That's really heartening.
I mean, I couldn't imagine what this universe written by Noah was going to look like. Before I read the script, I was like, what is going to go on in this series? Because I love his work and I love how far he takes his, narrative arcs of characters. It's like constantly developing to try to find the next worst thing or the next most dramatic thing in his writing. And, then getting to read the script, I just felt very lucky to be anywhere near this project. I think we all feel pretty lucky to be here. Yeah.
Timothy, my dad showed me Deadwood at an age way too young that I should have watched. I was there since Justified started all the way to the end. So, I've grown up with seeing you as the Marshal. It's a niche that I feel you've bodied so well. Now, I love seeing you explore different lanes, especially in comedy. I thought Santa Clarita Diet was hilarious. I think Go, you're so fantastic in. So, getting to explore something where science fiction is the overt theme and it's very heady, and seeing you get to let loose, but also bring your own into this universe. What was that like to bring your own flavor of acting to Alien?
Again, you're just making me feel good about myself, so I appreciate
That's what
that.
I'm here for. That's what I'm doing.
I appreciate your support. Tell your dad I said, hey, I don't approve. Say hello. If This was a fun gig because it felt like it was an opportunity to do a little something a little different. And I consider myself really lucky that uh, I still get those opportunities. And I love that feeling of something, feeling on one hand a really nice fit. Noah said he wrote it with me in mind, so I was like, well, it should feel like an old pair of shoes. But at the same time, it really felt like we were stepping outside of a comfort zone. I wasn't quite sure if it was going to work. Um, that's a fun place to work from, to feel the contradiction of both being something very familiar yet something uncomfortable. It was just a joy to do this job. Just a joy.
Well, you three, this has been great. I could talk to you guys way longer, but unfortunately, that's not how it works. But thank you for your time. I'm excited for people to see the series, and hope you guys have a great day.
Hey, thank
Thank
you.
you so
Pleasure
much.
talking to you.
Cheers.
Noah and David, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank
Nice to
you.
meet.
The idea of experimentation is nothing new to the Alien series, but having a series that is so predominantly focused on the alteration of technology to make it as real or as believable as life itself, very eerily akin to what is happening right now with the rise of AI, especially in this industry. I'm sure as creatives, that must have been weighing on your minds when conceptualizing what this series would be. What was it like delving into those themes and exploring it, and how, unfortunately, it is growing more and more as each day presses?
Yeah, I mean, when the series was written before production, there was no AI really. There was no ChatGPT or any of the other interfaces. Certainly wasn't a consumer-facing product. And then when we went into production, you had that first round and the shock of realization that the future that we thought was this abstract 5 years from now thing was here today. And then, of course, it's only been 2 years since we started this production, and now we're in a very different moment, an accelerated moment where I think we're all worried, what are we going to wake up and see tomorrow? And it only makes the issues of the show more prevalent, in trying to figure out, well, what does it mean to be human, and what does this technology do to us as humans? If we can bring in these synthetic beings, these artificial intelligences, and also the race for technology to turn human consciousness into something that could be downloaded into technology itself. So, and into this world, obviously, right, comes these creatures, these sort of primordial creatures to remind us that we're not technology, we're food, right? And so we're trapped here between our this future that may not be good for us, in the past it's definitely not good for us.
I mean, we as a species have a centuries-long history of this delusion, some may say foolishness, in believing we can control our Earth and we can control our destiny. And I think this series uniquely packages up the technological and the natural to say, well, perhaps you can, perhaps you can't, but at what price? And that becomes sort of central to a lot of the character drama, if not the ultimate thread of the story.
Also hearing you two being attached to an Alien series, I thought was fascinating. I don't know, you've worked on what is deemed IP before. I don't think people think as Fargo's IP, considering just how beloved the film is, and then what the series has turned into and how fresh it feels each season. And you worked with Legion, and I know that was an entire experience, especially with the following it's grown. But working in Alien, especially fresh off this past season of Fargo, I'm curious, what was the transition in your mind of what made you want to go to this project? Was it what these themes we've been discussing? Was it the ability to expand yourself in a genre like this? I'm very interested.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was the scale, some of it was the genre, and some of it was the opportunity, right? I don't take it for granted that I made Fargo and Alien in the same year. I mean, who gets to do that, right? Who gets to do that one tone of voice and turn around and do this totally other tone of voice? So, it's very rare to not be pigeonholed as a storyteller in this business. And so part of my desire to do it was to really, I saw that crack where I could be anything, and I pushed it open, and I think that the themes, of Alien and the timeliness of the issues from the films, also made it very attractive to me.
And I think similarly in Noah undertaking this, that he was able to not only literally bring this story to Earth, but one that took a lot of what has been rooted in the feature survival film versions of these stories, and has been able to confront us with, as I was referencing earlier, much that we are encountering in our own world. But the notion of bringing these creatures, of bringing something as the xenomorph that we would be looking to weaponize, and that science is looking to manufacture in terms of these other creatures that we have no understanding of. It doesn't take much of a leap to feel the resonant relevance of that with the world we're encountering today. So it's a series that you can experience the horror on a lot of different levels. And if you want to look out the window, you also may find that it has some direct correlations that might be really discomforting.
I've had the pleasure to see the first few episodes. I'm excited for everyone to see what comes, especially a Noah Hawley Alien series. I think what you guys have done is very interesting, and I just want to say thank you for your time, and I can't wait for the series to come out. So thank you.